This video is titled Watch This If You Feel Lost. And as 2025 comes to an end, I look back on the past decade. And a lot of the past decade for me was a cycle of phases of being lost. I graduated film school and was under the impression that I'd be directing films immediately. And that wasn't the case. I was quickly humbled by the reality of how things worked, how things actually worked. And through that process, found myself pivoting a lot. And that's really what I want to get at here is when you feel lost, you have to be open to the idea that your initial concept or idea, let's talk about life path, right? You might think you want, in my case, I'm going to be a film director and I'm going to graduate, I'm going to go to film school, I'm going to graduate and I'm going to direct films. But along the way, I found out that I needed other skills, that things that I thought were one way were in fact the other way. And I wound up in Los Angeles, driving 3,000 miles across the country to pursue that and just taking chances and taking opportunities. And that's one of the biggest things I could say when you do feel lost is taking the risk, taking the jump. Because a lot of times the next move is the move that requires the most amount of courage. It's the risk. Not in all situations, and not doing something to harm yourself or others in the process, not doing something stupid. Sometimes it seems like it could be stupid to other people, but not putting anyone, including yourself, in harm's way is what I'm getting at. But my decision to move to Los Angeles 3 years ago didn't quite happen the way I thought it would. I thought that, again, I would get somewhere, I would get to LA, and then the answers would be made clear. But when I got to LA, I was working at Amazon, I was driving Uber, I was doing things that I didn't think were part of the process. Because here's another thing when it comes to feeling lost, that most things don't tie up and aren't wrapped in a pretty bow. Most life lessons are challenging. And it's really not a matter of being like, I am happy 24/7, but more so a matter of, can I be content with where I'm at? How do I define the vision for myself, and how do I know when I've hit it? And I've realized that when you feel lost, it's about making courageous decisions and being open to pivoting along the way. And so I had no clue that AI video would be an opportunity for me. And now I'm making AI videos and I've taken on some clients. I had no clue that working as a personal trainer would grant me opportunities and put me in touch with people that I could never have dreamt of meeting before. And so life is not linear. And if you're in a period right now of confusion, as if you're in a fog, know that eventually it will clear, but the cycle repeats itself. It's not like you get somewhere, you're there, everything's fine, and you're good to go. No, it's a matter of moving through the fog, arriving somewhere, and asking yourself, am I content here? If so, can I be content here? And if the answer is yes, then you learn how to operate within that framework, within that phase of life. And if not, you keep moving forward. And so I moved to LA, discovered a bunch of things about myself and how things worked. And in the process, you pick up new skills, you pick up new experiences, and you will hopefully take that with you into the next phase, whatever that is. And this is really what it means to evolve. This is a personal evolution at its finest. And so if you do feel lost, know that eventually, if you keep moving forward and keep being courageous in pursuit of the path that you feel is aligned with the version of yourself you want to be, you will get there. But know that once you get there, there's always another peak, there's always another valley. And so it's remind yourself that, hey, I got here, I'm at this peak, I'm at this valley. I'm going to take in the scenery. I'm going to decide whether or not I want to continue on the next leg of the journey. It should always continue, but You might decide, hey, I want to set up shop here. I like this peak. I like this value. And it may not be what you expect. But trust yourself, trust your instincts, trust your intuition, because I've always found that it's never led me astray. It sometimes doesn't make freaking sense on how it works, this whole intuition thing. But it's always been right. And this is divine intelligence. This is God speaking to you in some way. And so I'd advise you to listen to it. I hope this has been of some help. I know I was kind of scattered and bouncing around. That's usually how my mind works. But this is something I've been thinking about because I am currently back on the East Coast for the holiday. And I'm looking through all these old things, all these old books and notebooks and photos. And I don't really think about the past a whole lot. But when I really do look back at all these different things I did, all these different jobs I had, all these experiences, it does forge your character. It's forged my character. And now I have a much clearer picture on where I want to go next. And oftentimes, at least in my experience, I've noticed that I might want one thing, and then I'm met with the reality of it and being like, oh, wow, this is not what I expected. In my case, I wanted to be a film director, directing feature films, and I still can, and I probably still will, but it might not be in the way that I expected before. With AI filmmaking now, I'm able to do so much, and I never expected that before. I could never have planned for that. And so many things you can't plan for. And one of the tidbits of advice my dad gave me when I was talking to him about having kids, he said, when you have kids, don't worry about anything else, because you will find a way to make it work. Don't worry about the finances. Don't worry about the timing. You will find a way to make it work. And so I say the same to you, right? If you have this goal, and you might not know how to get there, you might feel lost in pursuit of it, you will figure out a way. There's always a way forward. Just have faith in God and in yourself, because the answers don't come immediately. The answers come through iteration. They come through experience. I'm trying this project right now. I've been working on it for the last few months, and I was very dead set on this is going to work. This will work. And I'm learning now, when I'm met with the reality of making it work, oh, this is not what I thought it was. It's something I'm going to continue to pursue. And then giving yourself grace to change direction if need be, to adjust the sails. The concept of Wu Wei, of non-action, is this philosophy where you sail instead of row. You learn to go with the tide instead of against it. And there are moments where the water is still and you need to row to move forward. And there are other moments where you need to let the sails of the universe, the winds of the universe, take you forward. So anyway, hope this has been helpful in some regard, and I'll see you in the next video.